right, good morning, and thank you for joining me here on Voice of the Box. I've got the pleasure of Crevin Megank, hopefully I've said your last name correctly, joining me here. And Kevin, instead of me explaining what your role is, would you mind, just in summary, explain who you work for and what your role is?
Okay, yes, I'm a pro scout for the Buffalo Bills. There's a few different things that go into my job during the season. Do a lot of our advanced scouting, so we go on the road, we scout our opponents, which is why I'm here now. We play the 49ers here in a couple weeks. We also write up the team, as individuals and the team as a whole. So we just get a brief synopsis individually and as a whole. We present that to our coaching staff every Tuesday morning as we start prepping for the week for our games. Aside from that, we do all our free agency evaluations, any kind of workouts that we do during the season when we have injuries and anything else that comes up.
Now, it's a pretty unique role within the NFL. I can assume a few things, but why don't you just tell me, how did you get your start in this kind of role, and how long have you been doing this job?
I started out with my undergrad. I was at Ohio State. Worked for Jim Tressel with the football staff just as a student intern. Whenever I could, I would talk to the NFL scouts that came in, did everything I could to see how they got where they were, tried to use that to the best of my advantage, ended up getting an internship with the Bills while I was still in college, and it turned into a job.
And you've been doing this now for how long?
This is my 5th season with the Buffalo Bills.
What are some of the inherent challenges? And I don't want to look at the negative side of what you do. And then tell me a little bit about what gives you the greatest joy about what you do.
Biggest challenges really would probably just attention to detail. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Everything we do is documented one way or another, either in a scouting report that we hand out to the coaches, to our GM, to our owner. It's documented, it's saved, and everything we do, eventually the coaches are going to go back and look at. So if we're wrong, it's really going to stand out. So we really have
no pressure.
We really have to be on top of everything.
You've been to, I'm going to assume, don't want to assume all these things. You've been to every stadium. You said, or maybe today, this is your first visit here to Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Is that true? Yeah,
this is my first visit to Candlestick. I've been to the majority of the stadiums in the league. I have not been to Seattle yet, and strangely enough, being on the East Coast, I haven't been to Atlanta, but that's about it.
Tell me what it's like during a typical work week for you. Obviously on Sunday, you're charting and you're doing your work, but what's it like during the week?
During the week, I mean, it's a grind. We work, pretty much as much, as the coaching staff does. We're in the office every day by 7 a.m. or so. We grind out tape for the most part, pretty much all day, every day, get ready, do some minor projects here and there on personnel. We may have a workout that comes up due to an injury, but it's 7 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday in the office. Usually we're there Monday till about 9 or 10, Tuesday, Wednesday or 9, 10, 11, kind of depending on what's going on, if it's our busy week or it's not.
Right.
And then it kind of tapers off a little Thursday, Friday, more like maybe 7, 8 o'clock, maybe a little earlier on Friday. And then usually either Friday night or Saturday we're on the road traveling to advance our opponents.
What kind of rules does the NFL have in place for scouts? You're allowed to scout XYZ number of weeks in advance, or teams that you're going to be facing in advance. What kind of rules or guidelines are in place?
A lot of that's up to the individual team. The NFL rules for advanced scouting, we're allowed to do 2 weeks.
Okay.
The opposing teams have to allow us in for 1 week. For 2 weeks, it's optional. It's up to the team, but most teams are pretty fair with it, and they let you in for 2 weeks in advance.
Gotcha. Just as what I also like to do here in Voice of the Box is ask questions of everyone I interview, especially college-age kids. What kind of advice or pearls of wisdom would you give someone that would be interested in this type of role? You mentioned your intern at Ohio State, and what else would you share with someone?
The biggest things, I think, is you have to have a passion for it, number one. You really have to know that anything in sports, anything you do, but primarily in sports, you really have to have a love for it. You got to know what you want to do. I mean, you're coming out, you're going to be working a lot of hours to start, and the majority of the time, the demand is so high for employees that you're not going to get paid a lot because they don't have to pay you a lot. So you have to be ready for low pay, a lot of hours, and it's very time consuming.
And good press box food everywhere you go, right?
Most places.
Kevin, I appreciate you taking some time right here in Voice of the Box.